To save my boyfriend, Andrews, I got injured and ended up in the hospital. Months later, the doctor said my wounds were healing well and I could finally be discharged. Andrews looked at me with tenderness in his eyes. That's great, Pegula. You're okay. I can finally rest easy. My heart swelled with joy. Once I'm out, we'll get married. But he shook his head, a hint of apology in his smile. What I meant was, I can finally rest easy and leave. Ramon has been waiting for me for over half a year. I couldn't possibly break up with you while you were sick. That would be too cruel. Now that you've recovered, it's time for me to go and pursue my own happiness. I touched my lower abdomen, which still ached faintly, and my heart went utterly cold. So all his meticulous care was just so he could guilt-free run to someone else. Andrews acted as if he didn't see my face instantly drain of color. He spoke, his tone light with relief. You know, Ramon is so fragile, and she adores me. She'd do anything for me, even be with me without any formal commitment. Last month on my birthday, she gave herself to me, like a present. My throat tightened, each word squeezed out from between my teeth. Last month, I was still in the ICU. He chuckled, a reminiscent and slightly boastful glint in his eyes. Right here, on this hospital bed. You were in a coma then. She cried, saying she was terrified something would happen to you, and even more terrified I'd fall apart. She insisted on comforting me with herself. Ramon's crying. It just does something to you. I followed his captivated gaze to the white sheets beneath me. I could almost see another young, soft body, intimately entwined with the man I loved, right here, while I lay clinging to life. My stomach churned violently. I dug my nails into the edge of the bed, not even feeling them break and bleed, numb to everything but the crushing pain in my chest. He cupped my face, seemingly oblivious to the hatred in my eyes, and frowned, perplexed. Why are you crying? I'll compensate you with money for the injuries you sustained for me. In Andrew's eyes, there was still that deep affection I'd known, etched into my very soul. It was as if the person excitedly describing having sex with another woman on my sickbed wasn't him. I gasped for air, my heart clutched by an invisible hand, aching as if it would explode. He sighed in exasperation, pulling out a tissue to wipe away my tears, his movements as gentle as if he were handling a precious treasure. Pegula, you're the person I'm most grateful for, but Ramon is the one I love. If it weren't for you, I would have been the one crushed under the construction scaffolding that day. If my hands were ruined, how would I draw? How would I win awards? Ramon just joined the design firm. She has a brilliant future ahead. I can't let her be branded as a homewrecker because of me, so I proposed to her the day before yesterday. She really loves the ring. You've always been the most understanding, the most generous. You'll bless us, won't you? Construction site, proposal, ring. 3 months ago, he took me to inspect a project site he'd personally designed when the scaffolding suddenly collapsed. I didn't hesitate, pushing him out of the way, only to be hit in the abdomen by a steel bar, collapsing unconscious on the spot. I lay in the ICU for half a month, and he stayed by my side for half a month. Everyone said our love was stronger than steel. But it turned out that while he was guarding me, he was also guilt-free enjoying another woman's body. I curled my cold fingers, my voice shaking uncontrollably. We're over. He paused, then chuckled, as if I was telling a childish joke. Pegula, don't say things you don't mean. For me, you gave up your future in France, haven't touched your scent lab in 7 years, and your sense of smell has deteriorated. What else can you do now besides being my assistant? If you leave me, who would want you? I stared at him intently. 7 years. I went from being the most promising young perfumer to just a regular assistant by his side. I thought our love story was that of a genius architect and his muse. But now, he was telling me I was just a worn-out tool he'd used up. My phone rang. It was the special ringtone he'd set for Ramon. I'd heard it many times. When I was asleep, when I was disoriented after surgery. He always said it was a client. It turned out I had been living a complete joke all along. He didn't answer immediately, instead saying in a placating tone, "Don't stoop to bickering with a young girl. Our 7 years together. Surely that's worth more than her few months." "You're not getting any younger, Pegula. No one else will take you. Just listen to me. Stop being dramatic." He rose, leaned down, and pressed a cold kiss on my forehead. "You handle your own discharge. Ramon has prepared a celebration party for me. I need to get going." The moment the hospital room door closed, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I retched violently by the bedside. Andrews was wrong. No one proposes to a mere pastime. That ring, I waited 7 years for it, until my heart died. True feelings don't disappear, they just shift. Back at the home Andrews and I had shared for 5 years, his car was parked downstairs. The car window was halfway down, and Ramon's seductive gasps drifted out, interrupted. "Andrews." "Call me Babe." "Babe, you're amazing." "Compared to Pegula, who makes you feel better?" "Definitely you. She's so lifeless. How could she compare?" I stood rooted to the spot, my blood feeling like it had frozen solid. It was midsummer, but I was so cold my teeth chattered. An hour later, Andrews walked into the living room, his arm around Ramon's waist. Seeing me, Ramon flinched like a startled rabbit, her eyes instantly red, and she hid in Andrews' embrace. "Why is she here?" "Andrews, didn't you say this would be our home?" "Do you still love her?" "You lied to me." "No matter how much I love you, I'll never be a homewrecker. I'm leaving right now." Andrews immediately hugged her tight, cooing and kissing her. "What are you thinking? I've given you the wedding ring. You're my wife, Ramon. This is absolutely our home." "She's just here to pack her things." He looked at me, no trace of guilt in his eyes, only cold annoyance. "Pegula, isn't that small studio apartment across town still empty? Go live there." My mind went blank, a dull ache in my chest, making it almost impossible to breathe. 3 years ago, when we moved in here, Andrews had hugged me, his eyes shining like stars. "Pegula, this is our home now. We'll have our paintings here, our cat, and our children." But now, this man who promised me a home was kicking me out like trash. "Pegula, Ramon is upset. I don't want to repeat myself." His voice was soft, but it carried an undeniable warning. It was then that I vaguely realized he wasn't joking. After a long, suffocating silence, under his unwavering gaze, I spoke hoarsely. "Okay." Andrews seemed surprised by my compliance. His eyes flickered. As I started to rise, he suddenly grabbed my wrist, his tone softening. "There's an industry conference next week. Come with me." I instinctively wanted to refuse. But he spoke first. "It's Ramon's first time at such an event. She doesn't know many of the senior figures. You should come along, introduce her, and make sure no one gives her a hard time." I froze, the absurdity almost making me laugh out loud. He wanted me to pave her way? But then I thought of the wild plan brewing in my heart, and I nodded. Before the conference, Ramon claimed she had no suitable dress and picked out my most cherished gown from my walk-in closet. It was the dress I wore when I first won an International Perfumery Award, along with the matching antique jewelry. That was the last shred of my glory as Pegula, not Andrew's assistant. At the conference, she clung to Andrew's arm, and I, like a humble shadow, followed behind them, fetching drinks and making introductions for her. Those senior figures who once showered me with praise now looked at me with scorn and pity. "Isn't that Pegula? Such a brilliant and talented perfumer back then. How did a few years as Andrew's assistant turn her into this?" "You haven't heard? Andrews is marrying the one next to him." "Pegula? She's just a glorified housekeeper he got to sleep with for 7 years. Now her home's even been taken over. Women really need their own careers. Otherwise, look, Once she's past her prime, when she gets kicked out, she can't even open her mouth. I practically fled into the ladies' room, only to hear a discussion from the stalls between a few young designers. Andrews is such a winner at life. I heard Pegula was the real mastermind behind his Rising Star entry this time, right? Definitely. Pegula's inspiration is Andrews' entire creative arsenal. Without Pegula, Andrews is nothing. So, he's kicked Pegula out and married Ramon. What's he going to do now? My heart clenched, but then I heard a frivolous laugh. It was Neto, Andrews' confidant. Andrews said Pegula's world revolves around him. He made her utterly dependent for 7 years. She can't leave him. This is just her throwing a little tantrum. Once he gets tired of Ramon, he'll snap his fingers, and Pegula will come crawling back to slave for him. She's just a used-up old tool. What could she possibly do now? I couldn't hear another word. I rushed to the sink, splashing cold water on my face again and again, finally biting down hard on my hand to keep from crying out loud. Tears of humiliation mixed with the water, splattering onto the cold marble counter. Andrews, you're wrong. This time, I won't wait for you. The moment I turned around, a stinging slap landed hard on my face. I clutched my instantly red and swollen face, looking at Ramon in disbelief. She shook her tingling hand, the innocent, harmless expression on her face utterly gone, replaced only by malice and venom. You heard everything, didn't you? Andrews will be mine very soon. Why are you shamelessly clinging to him? Aren't you pathetic? You love throwing yourself at men so much. Why don't you go work at a nightclub? Oh, right. You're so worthless, paying for love for 7 years and still not getting a title. You're only good enough for broke losers. My head buzzed. I watched her malicious face open and close, shaking with anger. Just as I was about to speak, she suddenly let out a shriek, violently ripped the strap of her dress, and dramatically fell backward. Pegula, Andrew's cold, furious voice exploded behind me. He lunged forward, carefully helped Ramon up, and held her tightly in his arms. Ramon cried beautifully, like a tragic actress, as if she'd suffered the greatest injustice. Andrews, it's my fault. I shouldn't have come between you two. It's all my fault. I'm the wicked homewrecker. Saying this, she raised her hand and slapped herself hard twice across the face. Andrews immediately grabbed her hand, his face contorting in pain as he looked at her swollen cheeks. Who told you these things? Ramon bit her lip hard, shaking her head frantically. Please don't ask, Andrews, I beg you. But her eyes flickered with terror toward me, as if I was some monstrous threat. A girl from an ordinary family, like me, can't possibly stand up to Pegula. She has so many influential people helping her. I can't fight her. Andrews, please let me go. I don't want to get acid splashed on me on the street later. His brow furrowed, and a scrutinizing, displeased gaze fell upon me. Explain. I lowered the hand covering my face, revealing clear 5-finger marks. You should ask her what she said to me. Pegula, Ramon Shriakashrili. Yes, I hit you, but that's because you called my parents country bumpkins and said you'd make sure they couldn't show their faces in their hometown. They're innocent. If you're still not satisfied, hit me back. I beg you, don't go after my parents. I was so angry my vision blurred. You're making things up. I never. Enough. Andrews interrupted me coldly, his eyes filled with a thick, suffocating wave of disappointment. Pegula, I've indulged you too much. Do you think just because you're an orphan, I can't do anything to you? Perhaps my heart was already numb, or perhaps I had expected this. I actually laughed. So, how do you plan to stick up for your fiancé? He walked toward me step by step, reached out, and slowly, deliberately, took off the necklace I had worn for 7 years. It was a birthday gift I bought for him with the prize money from my first competition. He turned and said to his assistant, "Call the police." Tell them Ms. Ramon's design drafts were stolen, and the thief was caught red-handed. I forgot how to react, my mind utterly blank. Andrews was notorious in the industry for playing favorites. He had protected me under his wings for 7 years. No one in the entire industry dared to pull any stunts on me. But now he was the one who personally plunged the knife into my back. Andrews clutched the necklace, his cold, detached expression appearing utterly foreign in my blurry, tear-filled vision. Pegula, you're too disobedient. This time it's stealing design drafts. What next? Are you going to ruin Ramon's hands? Go spend some time cooling off and thinking about what you've done. Don't worry, it won't be for long. When you get out, I'll personally pick you up. I forced a wry smile. Watching the police approach me, as the cold handcuffs clicked shut on my wrists, I forcefully pulled my hand from his grasp. The sudden emptiness in his palm made Andrews instinctively frown. He stared at my resolute back, suddenly seized by a panic that he might never be able to hold on to me again. Ramon, however, was quicker. She linked her arm through his, her voice sweet and syrupy. Andrews, thank you for standing up for me. I was really terrified just now. He came back to himself, dotingly flicking her nose. What kind of compensation do you want? Ramon's gaze fell on the necklace in his hand. She smiled, took it, and casually tossed it into a nearby trash can. Andrew's face instantly changed. Ramon immediately looked wronged, her eyes turning red. Was this necklace very important to you? She made a show of reaching for the trash can. Then I'll help you pick it up. After all, it's 7 years of feelings. Even though she did this to me, I don't want to make things difficult for you. Andrews pulled her back, his heart aching beyond measure. A piece of junk necklace. It's nothing compared to you. Don't dirty your hands. You have that black card, don't you? Buy whatever you like. Ramon's tears turned to laughter immediately. She stood on her tiptoes and kissed him on the cheek. I don't want your money. I love you. Yes, I want to spend money on you. If you don't spend it, my heart aches. Only then did she shyly bury her head in his chest. 3 days later, I was released from the police station. It wasn't Andrews who came to meet me, but his assistant, who drove me directly to a private club's VIP room. Pushing open the door, under the lavish lights, Andrews and Ramon were surrounded by a group of people in the center of a sofa. They were feeding each other a cherry, mouth to mouth, kissing passionately. The cheers and whistles around them were threatening to blow the roof off. I don't know how long it was before Andrews finally noticed me. Seeing my pale, gaunt face and the still fading red marks on my wrists, his expression darkened. How did you get like this? Did someone bully you inside? Before I could speak, Ramon covered her mouth and chuckled. Pegula is such an actress. Everyone knows you're Andrews' pet. Who would dare touch you? Are you trying to make Andrews feel sorry for you, looking like that? Andrews, who had been about to get up, sat back down at her words. Since you know you were wrong, come over here and apologize to Ramon. Ramon nestled in Andrew's arms, swirling the scarlet wine in her glass. Actually, I'm not that petty. But you insulted my parents and almost ruined my future. I just can't swallow that. She paused, then feigned surprise, covering her mouth. Oh, I forgot you're an orphan, grew up in a welfare institution, no parents to teach you manners. It's normal you wouldn't understand these things. I lowered my eyes, saying nothing. She pushed her wine glass onto the coffee table, her chin slightly raised. Apologize. I lowered my head. I'm sorry. Ramon shook her head. What good is saying it? That's not sincere enough. She pointed to a row of various strong liquors on the table. Drink all of these, and I'll forgive you. I looked at the bottles, instinctively glancing at Andrews. Years ago, to help him with client entertainment, I drank until I had a perforated stomach and was in the hospital for a month. After that, he never allowed me to touch a drop of alcohol again. He knew better than anyone that alcohol was no different from poison to me. But the man before me merely exhaled a puff of smoke, his tone as calm as if discussing the weather. Pagula, it's just a few drinks. It's not that serious. I know your alcohol tolerance. My heart was clutched by an icy hand, the pain making it impossible to breathe. I picked up a glass and tilted my head back, chugging it down. The spicy liquid burned like fire from my throat to my stomach. Immediately after, a sharp, twisting pain shot through my recently healed lower abdomen. I bent over in agony. Pagula's alcohol tolerance is so good, one glass isn't enough. Ramon smiled with feigned innocence. How about you down this whole bottle too? That would show real sincerity. My face was ashen. I looked up at her. Ramon immediately turned to Andrews, looking wronged. Andrews, I was insulted, threatened, and almost had my future ruined by her. Now I just want her to drink a bottle of wine to make amends. Is that asking too much? Of course not. Andrews stubbed out his cigarette, his tone matter of fact. Pagula, I want to protect you, but you really went too far this time. Listen to Ramon. Once her anger cools down, we'll turn the page on this. I slowly nodded. Clutching my abdomen, which felt like it was being sliced open, I picked up the bottle of the strongest whiskey on the table. A few drinks? How is that enough to atone? I'll down this whole thing. That's what you call sincerity. The moment the bottle hit the floor with a heavy thud, I couldn't hold on any longer. I spat out a mouthful of blood. I collapsed weakly to the ground. Ramon shrieked, jumping back. Pagula, you don't need to be so dramatic. It's just a bottle of wine. Are you carrying a fake blood pack around to stage an injury? Andrews was also convinced by her ridiculous lie. He frowned impatiently. All right, stop acting. Ramon has been generous enough. How long do you plan to keep this up? Aren't you ashamed? Get up. I said nothing, just looked up, staring silently at him. The woman closest to me suddenly shrieked. Blood. There's blood all over her dress. Oh my God, her wound has burst open. I met Andrew's face, which had instantly drained of color, and let out the first truly sincere smile I'd had in days. Is the compensation you wanted enough now?